So, it's been several months since I first started my Dragalia Lost How to Play series, and with all the constant updates to the game, it's only natural that a few of my tips and tricks will become outdated. What's unnatural is the surprising amount of things that directly contradict the advice I gave, so let's get into it and see what's new. First of all, the Fire Sword isn't actually useless as I hinted in my video on the Prince, but it's more worth it for other characters like Marth. Additionally, the Prince can now equip Midgardsormr or Brunhilde because the developers can't decide on their OTP. Alasan has since outclassed Zainfried for endgame content. Actually, Zainfried is outclassed by just about everyone these days. If an axe is more tanky than offense-oriented, ignore them. Renzel's not a very good pick for High Mercury because taking out the rats for Slayer strength is a suboptimal strategy, and the last defense and shields are useless since you can just dodge everything on the fight instead. Stroke of Genius is actually a good print, but you'll want it on Izalith if you put her on your team. It turns out several other characters are actually good at cooking. Vice, Zania, Fritz, Lowen, Elias, Botan, sometimes Xander. Point is, a lot of characters can cook. Maxed out co-abilities are all equal now, so Cleo doesn't need a hand to max out her healing potential. This also goes for all the future times I mentioned co-abilities as well. Jacob is a good pick for the third teammate as he's also out to date Cleo. Give him a ring like the others, hit auto battle, and watch them all try to act cool to win her affection. So it turns out Luca, the woodland archer, does in fact exist. He was just data mined before he was prominently featured in the Hunt for Harmony event that came out shortly after the video on Cerise. Since all the things I covered for him were correct, I don't plan to give him his own video unless there's a sheer outpouring of demand for it. Apparently, Luca is indeed Cerise's brother. I know a lot of you may still be in doubt, and I'll be honest, so am I. Buff time affects buffs given, not received as I had previously thought. This includes buffs you give yourself, because if you're going to make some quality buffs, there better be enough to go around the class. Other Gala characters now have multiple resistances, but Gala characters are still unique. Not sure where Cerise's stats fall these days, but she's still pretty good if you can aim. Hildegard is still the best healer, but healers aren't usually necessary, and where they are, there are specialized ones that are better choices. The previously recommended staffs are still good, but the 5-star Light of Judgment is good to punish heretics. I don't really have anything else to say about Zania. She got an ult, I guess, but I count those as separate characters, even if the game doesn't, since this is Dragalia Lost How to Play and the ults play differently. Not was deemed too powerful and was flat out removed from the game as a playable character. An astounding decision on the developer's part, as no other character has been more than slightly adjusted. High Midgardsormr is still laughably easy for veterans, but slightly less so without Not to carry. Boy howdy is Melody a great pick for High Mercury's trial. Affliction resistance doesn't matter since she's so used to all the different afflictions from her maid chores, she can shrug off things like a simple bog. Her co-ability, buff skill, and full HP crit rate ability all help a bunch for the fight. She is definitely worth promoting. Just in stats, do not let her be in charge of the Halidom. That hasn't changed. Make her the 5-star Blade Anemone, great for High Mercury. And as it happens, she's a better pick than Musashi. Orsum is still good for High Brunhilde, but with the addition of Dual Prince, he's outclassed by several other baiting style units. And also Fjorm. Everyone is outclassed by Fjorm. Lowen is still a good healer, but contrary to my initial prediction that he would be undoubtedly good for High Mercury's trial, he's actually completely unnecessary. He's still a good pick, but if you bring him along, this child is going to get a week's worth of aerobics in. Gruda is still the canon pairing, but is a bad choice nonetheless. Use Freya, or better yet a Strength Dragon instead. With the update to Wormprince, Revolutionary Magic can now get Althemia to a full 100% paralysis resistance, supporting my original thesis of Althemia on Althemia. I forgot to mention Poseidon as an option for Ryozen's dragon, as he also acts like a grandpa to the team. Also, apparently we got a Lightblade ult, but it wasn't Ryozen. Speaking of which, I dumped my entire wallet into Cygames' bank account for Beautician Zardan. Worth it. The new print Beauty Secret has been added since my video, and as I stated, must go on Zardan. It even works well with his kit. I did finally get Thaniel, and I guess he's okay for the team's healer. Lucretia is still a strong contender, but is actually one of the terrible cooks among the roster. Elias still sucks. Terrible stats, abilities that rarely apply. Just use Luca instead since he exists now. Vixel actually makes a decent helper in both the official role and to help a team of healers. This will not be the optimal team for a variety of content like Mercurial Gauntlet. Actually, it's only viable for meme runs. Why is Pia still here? The only other character who doesn't engage in combat in any of their stories that I can think of is Estelle, who is old enough to be here and has children to fight for. Where did Pia get the lance? Why is she out fighting? Her offense is pretty terrible, but why is she so tanky? Ronzel is a better pick for High Mercury as she's only slightly more useful than Elias, and Elias wants to fight. Light Imperial Onslaught is easier now without the rocks in the middle, so only 66% of the map will be covered at a time with that blinding attack. I still recommend Veronica on Alex's team, but I still can't tell if she's an actual child or not. I haven't played Fire Emblem Heroes in a long time. You have no excuse to play Aoi, you can dream summon Makoto. If you still want to use her, you're going to need a new set of gear. I thought it was strange that the pirates didn't steal anything from the treasury. Turns out there was a giant golden Fafnir protecting it. Sufan actually makes a good teammate for Kuhai since he's from the town Panglai and boosts critical rate, and Long Long is also an international dragon that boosts critical damage even more. The wedding belt can replace both of these characters characters unless you're really set on that jump maneuver. Ezilith sounds great on paper, but her amazing plan falls short due to her inability to debuff the enemy in any non-negligible amount, and I've even been told that her regular attacks outdamage her first skill. Major oof. And that's all the ones I'm catching up on today. On the note of Dream Summon, all my elemental teams are already stacked, and I have no specific opinions yet on characters I don't have, so in the description below I'll be linking to a poll where you can pick one of 7 non-limited 5-star characters I've yet to obtain. I'll Dream Summon whoever has the most votes in a few days, and do a how to play episode on them relatively soon. Additionally, check out my other poll where I ask what characters you want to see most by element. It really helps me pick what characters to cover since I suffer from extreme indecision. Thanks for watching.